Well, blessed Friday to you as we come with 1 Peter 5 chapter or verse 7. First Peter chapter 5 verse 7. And once again these are very small verses but full of a lot of things here. It says cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Now, preceding this, we've been talking about Peter's exhortation to elders, to peoples of positions of authority within his church. And those are important things to remember, yes. But the greatest thing to remember is that it is a call from God, not from even a congregation or even a congregation that votes on you. I know both congregations right now, they're feverishly looking for nominations, people that will fill positions and things like that, so that we have a slate to vote on. But you know who's already nominated us is God. God already has it figured out who's going to be fulfilling these positions. And that's the good news. The question is, how are we going to find that? The same is true as if a congregation has or doesn't have a pastor yet. And it's not about jockeying in a worldly sense. There's a great movie out called Conclave about the whole thing of spiritual, how should I say, discernment, and then the jockeying of just natural man made decisions that get in the way of what is spiritual, what is right, what is of God, and what is of man. And so a lot of these things can cause us some anxiety. And it has caused me some anxiety sometimes because I wonder, am I functioning in my comfort too much in the flesh, in the positions, in the presumption of peace rather than in the actual peace that comes from knowing Jesus Christ? Do they come from a call that has a paper on it, or do I get my inner calling from what God has called me to do? And that's why it's important that Peter writes all these things and he says, cast all your anxiety onto him. Because God is the one who puts you in a position for a period of time. And some have been blessed with a long stint. Had a member of one of our congregations who just retired after many years of service. That's always good to have that position, but I've known other people who have been content too with numerous jobs because their foundation isn't in the outward things. Those outward things might look chaotic, but in the inward things of God, knowing that God has solidified their life. And that I think is so important. I've been blessed with change, and sometimes I don't even know I'm going through change until I look back and it's like, oh, I remember that time of life. Sometimes I might even have nostalgia to go back to that situation that I cannot go back to. Of course, that's what we do. We go to situations of things that we cannot change and we wish that we could. But the greatest contentment, the greatest anxiety free place is to place yourself in the hands of God. And I think that that is so important in this passage, whether it be your position in life. And I'm talking about positions because in the context of this passage, it was about elders, about being people of God, but that can be in health. That can be in we're in a time of change in politics, and it can be a change in politics. It can be a move that you might make from either one house to another in a local situation, or maybe even between states, between countries. Some people find themselves. Where do we cast all our anxiety, all of our worries? We cast them upon God, because it is God who has brought us into this world, God who has baptized us, God who gives us his body and blood, and God who will lead us to the next destination. One of the greatest places that we leave that anxiety is at the point of death. I've had the privilege of talking with people near or close to near. They're death at times. I've only had one experience where I was able to pray and the person died on the spot when I had a last prayer. But I know that ultimately it's not me that needs to be the center of attention. It needs to be God. God needs to be the center of attention. And that's why I often said with our pulpit, we have it on the side. We have the cross or the picture of Jesus. We point to that. The table, the font, the place where God meets us. I'm just the John the Baptist pushing people that direction. And so as we anticipate Christmas just around the corner, as we celebrate the babe of Bethlehem and all the people in the manger scene, remember the greatest one was not King Herod, not even the wise men if it's Epiphany, or the shepherds if it's the Christmas story. Even Mary and Joseph and the animals, all part of the scene, or the angel floating above. It is Jesus, the gift who we are called to cast all of our cares upon him. God bless you today. We trust that these continue to be words of encouragement. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.